Hello, it's been quite a while since we hosted Spotlight, and today I'm hosting one and only Trevor. And Trevor, I would like you to introduce yourself to my audience. It's quite a new one, but tell us, what's your name, man?
My name is, as mentioned, Trevor, and I am many things. Mostly I am who I choose to be and whom people say that I am. What I do, I am a chef, I run a podcast, and I am a student of psychology at KIPC, Kenya Institute of Professional Counselling. Yes, and that is who I am.
All right, yeah, sure. It's quite a portfolio. Since you're into so many things, I've seen you're a chef, you are also running a podcast, and you are now learning psychology.
Yes.
What exactly? I believe that we could talk about briefly each and every one of them. So beginning from chef, quite very few men would be,
Yes, yes.
what is it that made you gravitated to cooking? And what do you cook, man?
Well, I would say what got me into cooking was the way I was raised. I was raised in a household where I would cook most of the times. I would help my mom cook. And it reached a point where I was now the best in cooking in the household. So immediately after I finished school, that was a direct path for me. So I took that path and saw what came out of it. Yes. Then after now chef schooling, now I got into this stage where I was lost. And finding myself lost in the world made me have to seek myself again. And I found my true calling, which is people. Because even when I was cooking in the chef industry, I would relate mostly with people. And so when I left that space, I gravitated more towards people. And that's when I started the podcast. After starting the podcast, I realized that I need a professional point of view. And I volunteered to be that person. So I engaged in the psychological space. And here I am today.
All right.
Yeah.
So we're still rolling. So I believe it will still be important to know. It sounds to me like the podcast is about people.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
All right. Tell us exactly how would you define this podcast in as few words as possible? What is it about, and exactly what made you to open the podcast?
It has to do mostly with whom I am. I'm a truth seeker. So observing the things that go on in the world, because I am a very, how do I put it? I am a person who relates with people a lot, like I said. So I am able to pick on very many things that have to do with people. So being in that space and wanting to know more about it and consuming as much information as I did from the time I was young to the point I am currently has brought me to the realization that I need to engage myself in this space fully if I am to do the things that I have set for myself, which is to help the people around me to figure out what it is that is affecting people and how to go about these things. Yes.
All right. Okay, so thank you so much. You'll be back, so watch out for the second video when we'll have to get to know exactly what we are up to for this season. We're just exiting Mental Health Awareness Month, and now we're going into a new season, and now we still want to bring back the conversations we usually have on Spotlight about mental health and bringing the conversations on mental health closer home. So that is why we have this podcast, and I'll be a guest to Trevor's podcast, which I will be sharing with you the details so that you can also follow up with our conversation that we'll be having over here. And you're very much welcome to follow us. Until next time, I'm Langat. And Trevor, no, now you can, Trevor comes, in my mind, Trevor Noah comes to mind a lot. I can easily call you Trevor Noah.
Yes.
That name Trevor, how did you get it? And is it inspired by Trevor from South Africa?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe I should ask my parents.
Do you listen to him though?
No, not entirely. I do know him though. But I do not relate to his content a lot. Yes.
Okay. He's a comedian, just so you know. All right, so until next time, and so tell us, your podcast, what is it called?
The podcast is called I Am Rafiki.
I Am Rafiki.
Yes. Because I am a friendly person, and the best relationships on the planet are friendly relationships. So I would like to establish that relationship with my audience. And that is why it is what it is.
Okay, how can we get I Am Rafiki podcast? Is it in Spotify or YouTube?
It's on YouTube specifically currently. So go and search for I Am Rafiki with 3 I's at the end, and you'll find the channel.
All right, absolutely. Until next time, let's go check I Am Rafiki and make sure you subscribe as we continue with this conversation.